All right, so it establishes an acceptable educational standard for your program as well. Okay? So, and in terms of the, oh, thank you. Sorry, also, you can see I'm also a bit of a technological cut, so you don't have to be afraid to ask. We're all learning. So what is the education in terms of quality, but also in terms of level? So is your qualification, is your program at the same level as these other international qualifications, or is it a different level? So what standard does yours need to be in? Need to be at? It also identifies articulation possibilities, vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Now, Marianne's slide talked to that. You could see the vertical articulation. You could see where horizontal articulation occurs. Now, obviously, horizontal articulation occurs at a professional level where there are other professional programs, but in slightly different fields, okay? Slightly different areas. It could all be in management, but it could be management in different kinds of fields of management, right? Could be in terms of accounting, but it could be in slightly different fields of accounting, or from accounting to management, or from management to accounting. So kind of similar fields, but you can have diagonal or horizontal movement across into your program or from your program into another program. So look at those articulation possibilities. What are they? Think broadly. Nina, are you concentrating, or was that, I don't understand what you're saying? So you've got a big frown. I don't know if you're not understanding, or if you. Okay, all right. So do you understand about vertical, horizontal, and diagonal articulation possibilities? And you need to be really careful about the qualification types. So if you're moving from a vocational qualification into a more professional qualification, what are the knowledge implications of that? You need to think that through, and you need to explain that. So if you are thinking of, if you're saying, look, this is a very vocational qualification, but it has articulation possibilities into a professional qualification, a professional master's degree, then say what that entails in terms of your knowledge areas and what disciplinary kind of knowledge is going to be involved there and how it's going to make that articulation. So have you thought this through? You're not just, again, throwing out wild statements that you have no real underpinning evidence of. You need to have evidence that you've thought this through. Is there a real connection? Is there real articulation possibilities? And what are these? What are the implications of that? You're going to have to speak to the other people about it. So if it's another university in Africa or overseas, have you actually spoken to them about that? Or is it just, again, aspirational? Too often your statements are aspirational and not grounded. Okay? These have got to be grounded claims. These have got to be grounded arguments, not aspirational. Have you spoken to them? Yes.
I just want to say that in the past few years, applications have been turned down by the Senate Academic Planning Committee, where people wanted to collaborate with international institutions, but they have never ever thought about the articulation possibilities. Okay, so that's why you need to bring this onto the table at the stage of conceptualizing the program, not as an afterthought. Okay, it cannot happen as an afterthought. It must be designed in right from the start.
So you need to have those conversations, and you need to set up memorandums of understanding and agreement. Yes, Eunice?
Yeah, I just want to comment on the responsiveness. When they are designing the courses, they have to make sure they are nationally responsive and provincially responsive before you even look at other countries.
Yes.
Because if the course is not catering for the province and catering for the country, then are you developing for students from other countries?
Yes.
So you look at the responsiveness that way.
Yes, yes. But that will be identifying your particular niche or your particular gap. So you're not going to be designing, if you find a wonderful design qualification of the University of Delft, for instance, and you say, oh, we're going to design ours along the University of Delft guidelines because they're known for best practice, high standards, fantastic teaching and learning. Okay, we're going to use this as our model. We're going to design the same. No, because what happens in Holland is entirely different from what happens in South Africa. So your context is different. You must take that into account and locate it nationally. It is the University of Delft qualification you're going to use purely as a comparison with yours, not as a model necessarily. There could be aspects that you think you could model yours on, but they would have to be nationally and locally contextualized. Okay, so you would identify those collaboration opportunities. So then what is this? So if we've established why we must have one, what does this then comprise? Well, you must include in your purview that both private and public universities, please. So not just the publicly the government ones, but also your private universities. A lot of private universities are set up around specialist fields, specialist knowledge areas. Go and look at those. Are they your direct competition? Or are there articulation possibilities? Will students be coming from those institutions into your qualification, or might they be going from your qualification into those institutions? What are they doing? What does their curriculum comprise? So you also need to look at the international national standards and professional requirements, professional bodies, if those apply. Those are really important. All right, nursing, in particular, engineering, okay, education to some extent. So what are those professional body standards? What are similar qualifications? What are best practices and standards? What are nationally and internationally relevant qualifications? And then compare the types. So what is the purpose, nature, and characteristics of these particular qualifications? Normally what you would do, you'd start off looking at identifying countries. Then you would identify your institutions within those countries. And then you would look at the programs. So you might well know of programs that are being run elsewhere, but then you need to make sure that the institution that is offering that program is of a high quality, and that the country actually, how does that, where is this country? Is it a Western first world country? Is it Germany, or is it Brazil? Is it India? Where is this? How does that affect how the qualification is being offered? Are you going to compare with program-related components, such as program design and educational practice, or are you also going to look at a more nuanced level? Are you going to look more at the curriculum things? Now, you may well say, look, we first need to look at the program design. Once we've looked at the program design, and if that looks as if that's something that could be useful to us, then we can look at the curriculum components. So what are the subjects that they're offering? What are the credit values? What are the core subjects? What are the specialist subjects? Why are they offering those cores and those specialist subjects? How might that differ from what we want to offer? What are the credit values? Why are they offering those credit values? Should our credit values be different or the same? What kind of knowledge, skills, and attributes are those individual programs offering? So that's more at the curriculum level. You need to look at all of these levels and decide which you're going to primarily aim your comparison at. This is just a slide, if you like, of the Australian qualifications framework, which is quite a nice little wheel. And when we are looking, this is just to emphasize the fact that when you're looking at programs and qualifications in other countries, be sure that their NQA, that their qualifications frameworks work in a similar manner. Or if they might have different names for qualifications at the same level. Or they might have they might something. Let's look at the Australians, for instance. So a certificate is a level 1. So it's level 1 to level 4 are certificate programs. That's up to our grade 12. Then they have a diploma level, which is a grade 5. On our new HEQSF, we have a certificate at level 5 and a diploma at level 6. So they have the advanced diploma. Yes, they don't. They have the advanced diploma at level 6, whereas we have our advanced diploma at level 7. So when you're comparing qualifications, let's say your postgraduate diploma, you can see that level 8, they have what they call graduate diplomas, graduate certificates, and bachelor honours degrees. So that's what you need to be comparing for your PG dips. If you're going to be looking at your advanced diplomas and you want to look at the Australian qualifications, you need to then start comparing to bachelor's qualifications. So just be very, very sure about the levels. Don't assume that because it's a diploma in Australia, it's the same as a diploma here. All right, or an advanced diploma is the same as a diploma here. It's not. Make very sure, look at those level descriptors. Decide that you've got to compare like with like. All right? And if you say in your rationale justification that you are now benchmarking your qualification against the advanced diploma in Australia, there are going to be huge question marks from SACO, because SACO knows what these other qualifications frameworks are. They're going to interrogate that and say, but why are you, what are you talking about? Okay. Yes. Sorry, who's got it? Yeah.
Other South African universities, at what level will they see our postgrad diploma? Will they see it at a bachelor's degree or post?
Your postgraduate diploma. It's a level 8. Okay.
It's the same across the
it's
entire country.
it's the same across the entire country. So a postgraduate diploma or an honours is at level 8. But as Marianne was saying earlier, postgraduate diploma is far more vocationally and professionally targeted, whereas your honours is very academic and theoretical. Okay? So they're still level 8, but if you look at the level descriptive for a professional program, they'll be different. The outcomes will be different as for an honours degree. Questions? All right. So when you're going to conduct a comparability evaluation or comparative analysis, you first of all need to determine the scope of this analysis. So what is the scope going to be? Is it going to be at a program level? Is it going to be a subject level, or both? What are you looking for when you're doing this comparative analysis? So select countries, institutions and professional bodies that are known for their high standards, for high quality, in the discipline and in education. Okay? Both. Because you're looking very much at your professional type of qualifications here. So we need to see what is the education, how is this being offered educationally? Is this a sound offering educationally? Investigate a range of higher education institutions, as I was saying earlier, public and private, but a range of different ones, not all the same. So not all universities of technology or research universities, but a spread. Okay? See what people are doing differently and see which ones ring bells for you. Then select appropriate qualification types. As I said, according to the qualification frameworks, evaluate and compare programs and or aspects of the curriculum. And from that now, you can start to provide a rationale for benchmarking, if you like, your qualification. So where is your qualification going to sit in relation to all these other national and international qualifications and programs? And you must provide a critical evaluation of the differences and similarities. So you must show in your rationale and justification that you have thought about all these issues and that you are aware of what they are and that you actually speak to them. We looked at these various programs, okay, across these countries. These are the ones that seem to be most appropriate to evaluate in terms of our program. These are the aspects we looked at. This is how they were similar, this is how they were different. These were issues of excellence, these were issues that are problematical for us. This is what we are learning, this is what we have learned from these, and this is what we're going to incorporate in our qualification, and why? Because our context is X, Y, and Z. So you need to have thought through the whole argument of why you have compared your qualification to these others and what you have taken from those and what you have rejected in terms of building your own, and how your qualification is then going to speak to these others. Does that make sense? So it must be a story, a strong argument with all the evidence that you have thought this through.